Hello everybody, my name is Matthew Popich and I'm with New Resources Consulting. I hope all of you are here today to talk about PeopleSoft WorkCenters, how to manage daily tasks from one page. Our agenda will be quick introduction, talk about the company New Resources Consulting, the functionality offered in the WorkCenter, and then show you how to configure a WorkCenter so you can leverage it at your company, and then any questions that you may have. I will do my best to answer them. So, my name, Matthew Popich. I'm a senior consultant at New Resources Consulting. We are in the Oracle Solutions Group. And a little bit about New Resources. There's 200 knowledgeable experienced consultants serving multiple industries nationwide. We are a preferred partner with Oracle PeopleSoft since 1997, currently Platinum Partner. We are a certified Oracle Cloud Excellence Implementer, and our office is located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, also Winston-Salem, and Overland Park, and established as an industry and workplace leader. So we got many awards, top workplace, many other achievements. So a really good company. I really enjoy working with this company and the group of people, great leadership, and fun projects. So it's a little bit about us. So the first step is for those that aren't familiar with what a WorkCenter is and how it can benefit your company, I wanted to just do a quick demo of what a WorkCenter looks like, some of the functionality within it. And the first thing I'm showing you is once a WorkCenter is fully configured, this is what it looks like. It is a one-stop shop to do everything and anything that you really need to get through your day. First thing I like to point out is it's broken in half right here. Everything to the left of my cursor is a page where you can have all different links that will appear on the right-hand side of the screen. There's different functions. There's the My Work function, which will present the user transactions that are pending their action, such as pending approvals or requisitions not yet sourced, or expenses not approved, journal entries not approved, or encumbrances in budget error, etc. So it's a great way to present the user, and it even provides a little count of the number of transactions pending action. And then links, everything you click here will appear on the right-hand side. What you see here on the right-hand side is your dashboard. And on this dashboard, you can have multiple different pivot grids and lists to show you, or query results, to show you data in your system, to give you a high-level view of maybe what is a budget across a department, or how many transactions for the different departments or business units that I manage are pending approval or not yet encumbered if you're using the commitment control module. And it's a nice way to snapshot and have a quick view of data in your environment. So that you don't have to navigate all the way to a query, run the query, export to Excel. You can have all these different formats using pivot grids, bar charts, line charts, etc. You can also filter directly on this page to see information that's important to you. Some of these dashboards are delivered, but many of them you'll want to create that fit your specific needs. So one way with the My Work function, how does it know that I have two requisitions? Whose requisitions are those that are pending approval? And it all begins with the filters. So when you click on the Edit Filters, there's a filter ID associated to it. And later on I'll show you how a filter ID is set up, but there are many delivered ones with PeopleSoft that can be leveraged. These are all delivered filters. Once you click on the Edit Filter icon, you can define, this is my business unit. I want to see all requisitions that are pending approval for business unit, in this example, US 003. Maybe I want to be more specific. I want to see all requisitions pending my approval. So I could put my user ID in there for transactions pending my approval. Now, one thing I like to add is this WorkCenter, the parameters that enter in the edit filters are specific to the person that's logged in. So me and my coworker could have different parameters entered in on those edit filtered pages. So they're very unique to the individual that's logged in. And you can see how that could be beneficial to expedite your work, because all you have to do is click on the requisitions on the right hand of the page. It brings up exactly those two requisitions, and if you're allowing mass approval, you can click approve, or you could click on the rec ID to go to the work list page to complete your approvals. Any questions at this point? One thing I forgot to mention is if you do have any questions, you could use the chat to provide the questions that you have. I believe Brian Morrison is on the call as well, and he will be assisting me with those questions that you send. And at any time, Brian, if you want to interrupt at one of these breaks, and we can go through those questions.
Will do, Matt.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the My Work. And you can see how you can have many of those. Links is very basic. Basically, once you have the link on the page, once you click on that link, it appears on the right-hand side of the page, and it allows you to continue doing work without losing your WorkCenter. So you're always in your WorkCenter when you're doing this work. You can also collapse this left-hand column by clicking this double arrow. Queries Reports is another popular pagelet, and what you have here is links to Query Manager or specific queries that you use every day or you want your employees to be using often. Maybe some queries are centrally controlled within your agency for payables or spend and expenses, that the query can be trusted. It was built by someone that did all the validations, and you want all of your different business units to leverage that query. Well, that could be plugged into this WorkCenter, and they'll use that one here because it's readily available. So when you click on the query, it automatically appears on the right-hand side. You can export to Excel and all of that as well.
Matt, quick question on the chat, if I could interrupt. Came in from Pooja about what people tools is your environment on?
This People Tools was 854. This is 9.2 PeopleSoft version, People Tools 854.
Great,
I'm not
thank you.
exactly sure on the next 854. 2.3 maybe. So if you, along that same thread there, what I will be demonstrating, if you are on PeopleSoft 9.1, there's a little bit of extra work that has to be done to get your WorkCenter up and running. I have presented that and set those up as well in the past. So it's a little bit different, but 9.2, this is your 9.2. Okay? Any other questions? Nope? Okay. So queries, it's just like a link, and reports, just like, or processes and reports, just like the links and the queries, everything appears on the right-hand side. Oh, here's one for reports as well. Check register. Appears on the right-hand side. You just continue working through it. So, does anyone have any questions on what is the My Work, links, queries, reports, and processes, or anything? It's just pagelets that I'll show you how to set up on the left-hand side and the dashboards on the right. If not, probably what you noticed while I walked through that is answering this question: why would you want to leverage a WorkCenter or create one? The first thing is information is being presented to the user. They don't have to go anywhere to find out what action do they have to take on transactions, what needs their approval, what vouchers need action, etc. To navigate anywhere. This is a one-stop shop. Everything's right there, your queries, your processes, your reports, dashboards to see the analytics of the data in your system. And another big thing is streamlined training. Rather than having to tell a new hire that's going to be, taking on roles that you do on a day-to-day, rather than providing them all these navigations, these different pages and reports and queries, it's like, here's all your reports and queries and pages that you need access to. It's a good starting point. Improves user efficiency, less clicks, less things to navigate through. And with that, it simplifies their user experience. So, kind of the meat of the topic is coming up. How do you create a WorkCenter? And what I will do is demo how to create the WorkCenter dashboard and then add the My Work pages, add links, queries, reports, and processes. Step 1, in my screenshot, I provide the navigation, People Tools Portal, WorkCenter, Manage WorkCenter dashboards. If you want to create a net new one, a lot of these are delivered. Let me point out, all these dashboard pages, Oracle has provided WorkCenters for the different modules. That would be a great thing to look at, to reference, to see how did they design them, and what can you use from those to make your net new WorkCenter creation more applicable to your organization. So if you're going to create a net new one, you create a new WorkCenter dashboard page down at the bottom left. First thing you're going to want to do is give it a label. We just called it NRC WorkCenter. Long description will be presented on the WorkCenter itself. And then you want to identify where does this WorkCenter live in your navigation structure. So when you go to your navigation structure, main menu, purchasing, etc., or main menu, GL, what I did here was under the root node, many organizations create a folder, probably their company name, whatever that may be, to house all their customizations, custom pages, custom processes, etc. So it's not a bad place to put it if you're going to have multiple WorkCenters, or you could just put it under the module-specific folder, whatever you might prefer. But click on the folder, and that's where the WorkCenter will reside for navigation purposes. And one thing at the bottom, you'll see security type. There's public access, or you could define a role or permissionless. If there's a specific role you want to grant to users in order to access this WorkCenter, you could just specify that role right here. Any questions? Okay. Once you hit save, it'll be added to your list of dashboards. And once your WorkCenter dashboard is created, you can click on the pagelets. This is how we add the My Work links, queries, and processes pagelets. So those were the 4 pagelets we discussed earlier on. But if you have any unique dashboards that you want to appear on the right-hand side of your screen, this is where you select them. What I'm showing here is a couple options of dashboards: PO spend analysis, top 10 category spend. These are delivered dashboards that Oracle are pre-configured. But if you were to configure any pivot grids of your own that are very specific to your business, they would appear in this list, and you would just select it and add it to your WorkCenter. We are on the Content tab. Once you select the ones you want required and added, once you go to Layout tab, you can choose, do you want 2 columns, 3 columns? I prefer 2 columns, just so that you have your dashboards on the right side and your My Work links, queries, reports, processes on the left. So that's how I like to structure it here. And once you have these, to find on which side they are, you can just click Save. Now that what you essentially have is you've created your WorkCenter dashboard and defined the pagelets you want in it that are able to be in it. Here, I'm just showing that if you click on the WorkCenter dashboard, you can click this hyperlink and it'll bring you to it, or you could navigate to it, main menu, NRC, PeopleSoft. I'm just specifying from the same exact page we've been on. You can also click on that and it'll bring you to it. The first thing you'll notice is that it's totally blank. We added pagelets that can be accessed by it, but we have to do one thing, and we have to configure it. So in order to configure it, once you click on that page, you're going to see these different pagelet groups, and it'll make more sense in a minute once I show you the final product. But we have one group label I call main, and a second group that you can call queries and reports. And under the main group label, you can call this whatever you like. Maybe it makes more sense to be my work, but it has, under this main tab, it has the pagelet my work. And I just selected that by clicking on this magnifying glass and found the pagelet called my work. Added another row and found the other pagelet that was links. The display order is which comes first. You can set focus, means if you had several of these pagelets, it would cursor down to the pagelet group you had set as focus. Required means if an end user was customizing their WorkCenter to fit their needs, they wouldn't be able to remove this pagelet, the My Work or links. Another thing is initially minimized. So when you go to that page, you don't see the My Work with 10 action items and then links with 10 different pages. You can have them collapsed, and the user can expand and collapse them as they need. So that's group one. If you hit the plus sign, you'll see I have one of two. You can create a second group and then add the pagelets for queries and reports. So when I click Save on this page and navigate back to the WorkCenter, you'll see that I now have my main and my reports and queries tabs. Those were the two groups that I was referring to before. And then I have my work, which was display order 1, and then links was 2. On the right-hand side, automatically the dashboards appeared. Any questions with that, that configuration piece? Okay, moving on. One thing I want to mention is the My Work, it currently doesn't have any pages, or the links doesn't have any pages or content in them. So the next step will be to populate those pages. The navigation to do so is Enterprise Components, WorkCenter Dashboards, Configure Pagelets, add a new value. Doesn't have to be anything special or unique, but that is, NRC My Work. Felt right. Under the WorkCenter dashboard page, this is where you search to identify what WorkCenter are you linking the My Work links, queries, reports to. So this is where you click on this navigation structure and find what was identified in your WorkCenter. And I'm just going to back up for a second to point out this screenshot I have here to the right. When I'm trying to figure out what is the menu item of my WorkCenter, that can be found here. So when I clicked Configure from my WorkCenter, this is my menu name, Employee Link. It was auto-assigned by the system. So that'll be helpful to know when you're defining the WorkCenter for this configuration ID. Okay? So the first one we're going to configure is the My Work pagelet. And what you can have is multiple groups within My Work. So like we saw with the example I pointed out at the beginning, was the first one was things pending approvals. So I could create a group for all transactions that require some sort of approval or pending activities. So how do I do that? I create a group label, pending activities. The first link, you click define. And you have multiple options: events, system defined, user defined work list. The first one we're going to look at is system defined. And if you're trying to find a system defined link, something Oracle's already provided, you click import link. And what you're going to see here is several options. And they're broken down by object owner. And asset management, AR, accounts receivable, treasury projects, payables, inventory. So all of these My Work links are delivered from Oracle. Pending deals from treasury. Backlog due to ship. So all your inventory that is scheduling to ship but is backlogged at this current time. Once you find the ones you want, and these are delivered ones, you can create your own. But if you're trying to use the delivered one, search. Here's the details that will describe what that does. And then you can just select it. Once you select that radio icon, it will place it here. The one I selected was Recs to source. Pending activities, Recs waiting to be sourced. Earlier we were talking about the filter ID. This one defaulted, but you can click on that magnifying glass and choose a different one. Or if you create your own filter ID, I'll show you guys how to do that too. Takes a little development, but you can create your own filters. Down below, you could specify permissionless, role, or user security. So maybe this page you only want to give access to a certain role or a certain user. That's all right, but these pages already have predefined security. If you don't have access to via your existing roles, you will not see this page. Requisitions pending to be sourced will be to the sourcing workbench page. So if I don't have access to the sourcing workbench page, I will not see this link in the WorkCenter, even if I have access to the WorkCenter. So that's very important to know, because you already have security. I don't think it's appropriate to add additional security unless you're trying to, assign it to a single person. But if they already have access to the page, they should be able to see it. So what I often recommend is always make these public, because the security is already embedded. You don't need 2 layers of security here. So my recommendation is make it public. Once you click OK, it's going to add that link label, requisitions to be sourced, system defined, using your filter ID you specified. And then you can show count. That's how it knows how many requisitions are pending to be sourced. And show link. This will make it appear on your WorkCenter. By clicking Save, it doesn't add this link to your WorkCenter. It is important to click Activate My Work Settings. That means it's going to update, runs a process to update how your WorkCenter looks. So once you have this defined and click Activate, it will appear under My Work. So pending activities was the name of my group. Requisitions to be sourced, 89. Any questions there? Okay. Here's an example of it. Requisitions to be sourced, clicked on the link, brought me to the rec selection page. Pre-populated with the filters that were specified, which was business unit and buyer. Click search. Here's all my transactions. Oh, here's the example of where I can edit the filters. Edit filters. Click the red pen to specify I want to see requisitions to be sourced by buyer or business unit. Oh, what I'm trying to do, I forgot I plugged this slide in, but let me describe this. I think it's very important. This is the filter configuration, define filter definition. Here's the navigation. I kind of plugged it in here because we're talking about how you could change your filter parameters. But how do you choose what filter parameters exist for that page? And what you have here is a description, sorry, too soon, the requisitions to be sourced, and the model record is the SQL that drives, that basically queries what requisitions need to be sourced. And I'll jump to the next page. This is the SQL. This is the SQL that drives this filter. And this is delivered, but this is the part where I'm saying to develop these filters, you're going to need developers' assistance. You're going to have to provide them functional requirements of what parameters define a requisition that's waiting to be sourced. And some of the examples in this one is where if you have commitment control turned on, its budget is valid, its source status is available, it's not in process, its source status is available, etc. So these are all, this is the driver behind your filter. Also, when you're building your filter, you get to choose, what fields do you want to be prompted for the user to specify when setting up the My Work. These are fields, buyer ID, and business unit, and you can choose a prompt table so that they can select from that list of valid buyer IDs and business units. And you can also click test button to make sure that your filter is properly functioning. Any questions on filters? Okay.
We do have one question. Sorry, Matt.
Oh, yeah.
They are interested to know how to create the filter ID.
Filter ID. Okay, so I don't have the screenshot here, but if you want to create a filter ID, when you hit configure filter definitions, you'll be prompted with find existing or add new value. When you add new value, you can then specify the filter ID with its description and then link the model record, which is the query behind the filter, to your filter ID. So the filter ID will be, you can specify it as needed. This is the creation of a filter. But earlier, in my earlier slides, I was showing how you assign a ready configured filter ID to the system-defined pagelet, or My Work pagelet. Any other questions?
We did have a follow-up. What if the filter ID is not public?
Oh, not published. So I always made them public just so that I could assign them to whichever My Work activity I wanted to. So I've never actually tried making them not public. I can't confirm this right now, but I would believe that it would then prompt you to specify a specific role, permissionless, or user that has access to this filter ID. Okay? So within my work, there's also another link type, and that link type is work list. And in that work list, you can there's a delivered item of approval routing. So it's all items routing for approval to you. And it's the same thing, make it public, or if you don't want it to be public, define a role. I recommend being public because you don't want 2 layers of security. And then you could show count, show link, and once you're done, activate my work settings. And as you see here, when you click on approval routing, it brings you to your work list, essentially, for this individual. And these are the 10 items in there. Whether it's a vendor approval or a PO ID, etc., it's all your approval items. Just an example of how you can use the work list. Another type of link is events and notification alerts. So these are alerts to notify you of some sort of event. This one is notify buyer of approved rec. So once your requisition was approved, the buyer would then be able to take action to expedite the requisition to a PO and dispatch it to your supplier. This is a delivered process name, the rec change approve notify. And again, you can make it public, click OK. Once it's added, activate my work setting. In the demo environment, there were no recs pending approval at the time of me taking the screenshot, so there's no count next to it, but if it, you can see how if there are none, it's just grayed out. So that's my work. Those were 3 link types I wanted to show you that were available in the My Work. If you wanted to create your own system-defined link, such as there's a user-defined option. You could create your own and plug it in here. Say Oracle didn't provide any link that you wanted. Maybe you wanted something specific to requisitions approved but in sourcing error due to an invalid supplier, right? That might not be existing, but you could develop it. I'm not going to cover that here, but that is a functionality that is available. Okay, so the next one is links. Links, same thing, group, label, just called it procurement. Define, just like you would before. And the link type would be a menu item. And basically, for menu items, you just navigate to the folder for the page you want. So I went to main menu, purchasing purchase orders, and grabbed add update POs. Once I selected it, it appeared. You can override the label and change the label name if it was very nondescript, and click OK. Add update POs, it's under procurement group, and you can show the link and activate link settings. Once you do that, it'll appear under links, procurement, add update POs. You can click on it, it'll appear on the right hand side. The second one I wanted to show is a URL, and I think this is a really nice feature because how many things, everyone has PeopleSoft, but not everyone has PeopleSoft, but people that have PeopleSoft, they also have external links, such as interfaces where they manage other data or interface purchase orders from their source system into PeopleSoft or vouchers from their source system into PeopleSoft. So it would be nice if you're calling this a one-stop shop for all of your activities. You can also have links to your external systems through this WorkCenter. And over at my current client, they have a site where they store all job aids to assist with processing different documents, processing different transactions. So what we have is a link to that site that lists all the job aids that assist them doing that activity, as well as interfaces, etc. So Nice feature to have external URLs. I just use the weather channel because it gets the point across. I have always with external, always do open in new window. It will not open in the right-hand side of the WorkCenter. It needs to open in a new window, so please have that selected if you're using the link type URL. Activate link settings so that when you click it, it appears weather. So that could be used for any of your external links. Again, the reason why to have all these here is streamline training, onboarding, makes the user experience easier, everything's in one place, limits clicks, increases efficiency. Okay, so queries, just like anything else, very straightforward. Query, the type is query. Query name, specify your query name from query manager or query viewer. Access, you can make it public or type. Again, most people already use query trees or access groups to manage who can see which queries. All that security is still being enabled. You can have another layer of security at this point. I recommend just make it public because you already have that layer of security. And activate, I gave it a group label queries. Activate, it appears on the second tab under queries, and when you click it, you can enter your prompts on the right-hand side. Lastly, reports and processes. Same thing as some of the other pages you've seen, such as adding a link to a page. Create the group label, define, navigate to the report you want or process. This is a process of dispatching a purchase order. Click OK, show link, activate, and it appears under there, and you can run all your processes related to your job description. So one thing I didn't show is you could have multiple groups, so I could have reports, and below that I could have processes, and the triangle is collapsible, so it shows how you can click it to collapse it, bring everything up, expand it by clicking on it again. One last thing I want to mention is this little circle. It allows you to configure if you have the security to do so. A very important security role is related to the portal administrator. It has access to many of these pages that you need to configure a WorkCenter and the pagelets, pagelet wizard, etc. So that is a good role to keep in mind. Security can assist you. Portal administrator also gives you access to many other things that maybe they don't want the person configuring a WorkCenter have access to. So might be wise to create a separate role to assign to that WorkCenter configure individual. But under this page, if you access it or any generic user, they can go into it and click personalize and remove pages they don't care to see, or choose what's minimized, what's expanded, and so forth. So that allows the user to modify this their WorkCenter as needed, and it saves for every other time they log in. But that is the process of creating a WorkCenter. A lot of the heavy lifting comes when you're identifying what you want your WorkCenter to accomplish, who is your target audience, and how do you deploy it. Just to give you an example, over at my current client, we created a year-end close WorkCenter, year-end close activities. We all know there's many activities that you have to do to get ready for year-end close, even from requisition to check, making sure all the requisitions are sourced to POs are closed or canceled, all the POs are, all the current vouchers against those POs are vouchered, all those vouchers are posted and paid prior to the new year. If you are using a PO rollover program because you have commitment control and you need to roll that spending authority to the new year, you need to make sure that those transactions are in the proper statuses to be rolled. So they're there. And also, you you could have a pagelet that's basically on the right-hand side. It's a message board. Basically it says, welcome to the Work Center. It gives you a little description of what you want, or I should call it like a pivot grid pagelet. But it could be an introduction to the Work Center, give you daily updates, what's going on in the system. It would be the first page they go to, so any news of an outage coming up, or we're going to begin a new payroll process that changes, anything of the sort, right? So just to give you an idea, the time to be spent is really not on configuration, because as you see, it can be done pretty quickly, pretty straightforward, as long as all those you're using system-defined links, and you don't have to develop any of those your own. If you do, it's a little more time-consuming, but definitely can be done. I'll leave it there with any questions that any individuals have.
We do have a question, Matt. Can you add activity guides to my work?
Can you add activity guides to my work? In that very beginning configuration page that I was showing, where you added my links, my work, I believe you could add an activity guide itself, the pagelet activity guide, to the list of options. But you can't embed, I don't believe you can embed the activity guide into the My Work. So when you click on My Work, whatever action that might be a pending approval. You can't click on that and then go through a series of activities driven by the activity guide. But you could include below the My Work group or the My Links group, you can add the pagelet that would be the activity guide, and that would appear on the right-hand side of the page.
Great. Does anybody else have any other questions? No? Matthew, if you want to take to the next slide, if you can progress it forward. This is the contact information. Should anyone have any questions in regards to Matthew's presentation, you can certainly follow up with my email. You do have. We will be putting this recording out on the website, osg.nrconsults.com. It will be in our webinar archive, so you can go back and listen to it again or share it with others as you'd like. If you do want a copy of the slides only, then send an email to the info@ or to my email address. Any other comments, Matthew?
No, I just appreciate everyone taking time to learn about this solution. I think it can greatly improve any organization's efficiencies and day-to-day business processes.
Great. Well, thank everybody for their time. Do check out our website as well. We are going to be doing additional series of webinars, and you can register through the website, so do look for those to come up. And thank you guys again for making us part of your day.
Thank you, everyone.